Welcome everybody to another episode of Friends of the Forest. My name is Dale Mangold and this is episode number 9. Under the Lights. Yes, Under the Lights is the 9th track out of 10 on the Forrest Of FangHorn's album Ents Marching. And today we're going to have 2 special guests in the studio. So let's not wait. Let's dive right into this episode. And before we bring our special guests into the studio, just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button down below and give us a thumbs up and ring the bell notification and all that groovy stuff, so you will be the first to know when new episodes of Friends of the Forest air, which air every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And after episode 10 of the original Ents Marching Friends of the Forest episodes are over, then we bring on more guest artists, bands, entertainers from all around the world. And stick around. Later on in this episode, you'll see some of our upcoming guests from the United States, from the UK, from Spain, from everywhere. So, Friends of the Forest, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a new episode airs. Let everyone know all the special guests that appear on this track, Under the Lights. In addition to our northbound friends, which include Gary Ferraro on drums, Mr. Joe Sayut on clavinet, organ, and various keyboards, Sean Hoffman on bass guitar, Julie Zozos on vocals, and Mr. Roger Gelik on a lot of cool different guitar parts as well. I had the honor of playing the tenor saxophone solo and some tenor saxophone parts, as well as sharing the vocal lead with Julie. And in addition to the northbound crew, Mr. Dan Horgan from the book club adds some tasty trombone parts in the horn section. And as well, we have Zach Spondike, who you've seen him in various episodes. Zach plays with the Compass Quintet, the Argonauts, and the book club as well, along with Dan. And Zach adds a lot of bari sax and alto saxophone parts on this tune as well. And last but not least, we could not, and we wouldn't have this episode and this song at all if it weren't for our dear friend Chris Martinac, who was the male lead singer from Northbound, and he co-wrote this song with me and Ray Segrimus. He wrote the lyrics way back when, and Ray and I wrote different music to it, and we modified the music, and Chris unfortunately left us a few years ago, so this is our tribute to Mr. Chris Martinac with Under the Lights.
Under the lights is where he spends his nights. Never seen another day. Sometimes I wonder why he stays.
All right, in studio with us today, we have the privilege of having 2 of the Northbound members who appeared on this track, Roger Gelik and Julie Zozos. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we're glad to be here.
Roger. Roger and I go way back with various bands, Tobacco Road to be one of them. And Roger laid down multiple guitar tracks on this song. And Julie and I, we've known each other probably through mutual friends, Sean Hoffman and Roger and Joe and Gary. Is how I got to know you. Mm-hmm. And Julie appears on lead vocals and backing vocals on Under the Lights as well. And it's so good to have both of you in here so we can talk about this song and a little bit about the experience you had in the studio.
Oh, I like how you said you laid down multiple tracks. That's because doing one track wasn't nearly good enough, so we had to do multiple tracks in order to crack that egg, and get that so that we could do.
All right, Roger. Why don't we just focus on that? I know I kind of gave you kind of an idea of where we're going and the feel of the song, but you actually came in on your night to track and just kind of tell us your thought process.
I was just sitting there and listening to the thing and there isn't really much of a key change in the song. It kind of keeps on the same tonic notes, and so I just kind of played around that in the pentatonic scale with that, and maybe a little bit of the Mixolydian. Nothing too musically serious, because I am not musically serious, and I am rusty as hell. So I mean, before the the pandemic, I hadn't played since 2019 really.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you're like, you want to come over and lay down, so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if my fingers still work, So yeah, but I was glad I did it. I was real glad I did it.
Well, and you actually, I want to say, without looking at the actual track sheet, you have at least 3, if not 4 or 5 different guitar parts that you did lay down too.
Yeah, they're a little different. I know at one point, and it was just like a kind of a personal thing. I wanted to follow the horns, so they're doing da-da-da-da-da, and whatever the horn riff was, because I'm, you have me on the spot right now, so I'm kind of losing it. But whatever the horn riff was, I was like, well, I can do that, and I'm like, da-da-da-da-da, no, da-da-da-da, no, and I got really frustrated, and you saw that. But eventually I did get it, and I think it's in there. I mean, it's underneath. You got to really listen hard for it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the other things were just basically playing around.
I loved your little like filler parts. All the little syncopated parts really added.
Well, that's because I have no timing. It's syncopated because I have no sense of rhythm whatsoever. Yeah. So that's I do, but yeah, that all plays into it too, certainly.
And Julie, you came over the same session as Sean Hoffman, and you just laid down some killer vocal parts. We kind of went back and forth with like. The direction I kind of wanted to go with the verses, like the first verse I sang and we sang in the present tense, and then the second verse and the latter choruses we decided to sing in past tense.
Yeah.
And that all goes with the story behind Chris not being with us anymore. I think as the story teller in that song, I think it worked out well that way. But how about telling us about how you recorded your parts? I know I threw a lot of different things at you, but
well, I got to tell you, I was nervous. I truly was, because as Roger said, I was rusty because I hadn't sang. I hadn't really. I mean, I tried to do karaoke from time to time, but with a band and with all the live music and everything, I was a little nervous, but I was excited as all get out to do it. So when you reached out and said what you were doing and that you wanted to dedicate this to Chris and you wanted all of us to be a part of it, I just was thrilled, and I couldn't wait to get here. I really wanted someone else to be here when I got here because I wasn't actually sure musically I was going to be able to do what you wanted me to do. And with Sean here, he kind of gave me the moral support, and he helped me in some of the parts where, I wasn't quite sure where I was coming in or how to come in with what you wanted me to do, and Sean was a big help. So I'm glad that you were comfortable with what I did.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And the outro, which we sing the chorus and the refrain over and over again, I just heard this gospel type of voice, the female voice in there, and we had you just do probably 4, 5, 6, 7 different takes.
Yeah.
Which you're going to do multiple takes on things
Right.
anyways, but just like, okay, this way, sing it this way, maybe belt it more or this or that. And how did you feel about doing that?
Well, I tried to do what you were asking, and then each time you sent us your tweaks, you know, it was like, okay. And then when you and they were each one was different. Each tweak was different. So I was really curious as to how you were going to put all that together. And then when you put it all together and sent out the finished product, I was kind of blown away.
Well,
I mean, seriously blown away.
You did a fantastic job. In one of the post-production sessions, Roger was over, and I said, "This is the wall of Julie." You know, you've heard of the wall of sound. Well, this is the wall of Julie, and it like really was. But you know, it was a challenge. You know, balancing all those just to make them sound natural. But then, depending on your vocal style for that particular part or line, and it could even have been 2 words. It could have been a whole line. It could have been yeah, and all, you know that scatting stuff.
Yeah.
But you did a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was like kind of reminiscent of like a Pink Floyd thing or something like that. Where you know the end of the song just has a whole bunch of shrieking and not shrieking. I didn't mean shrieking like that. But
Well,
I mean,
sometimes I shriek.
I know. I shriek too. Okay. But no, I just had that kind of a feel when I heard it afterward. You had mixed it down, and I think the most important part was getting the EQ right for Julie's voice, because you know everybody has the potential, or at least most people have the potential to sound half decent on a recording, even if they have a like I have this kind of a nasally tone. I know it, or at least I think I do, and it drives me crazy. But you can take and kind of tweak that out of there, and just. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is you did a nice job balancing out Julie's vocals with your vocals and making them sound compatible.
Yes.
I want to change gears a little bit and go into the part of the show where I call Pick My Brain. What the heck was I thinking about when I was coming up with the idea with this song? And I'll just preface this a little bit. Chris Martinac, and who was the male lead singer for Northbound, also ran sound for a band I had called Face Reality, and we did your straightforward rock and roll, punk rock, new wave, dance party stuff. And Chris said, "Dale, I have these lyrics, but I don't have any music." So Ray Segrimus and we came up with music at that time, and we put it together. The song, we really didn't do anything with the song. We never recorded it or anything like that. Then time went on, and brought it to the Tobacco Road sessions, which is another episode for another day. But Roger and I had a old school rock band called Chewbacca Road, called Tobacco Road, and we brought that song to the sessions, but it never.
And it had a totally different feel. It was like almost. Right. I mean, they're literally like 2 different songs.
Yeah.
But it's not because it's 2 different songs. It's just the treatment of it.
Right.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys didn't change the music. You just changed the way you manifested it, I guess.
A little bit, yeah.
Sense?
But then, so put it back on the shelf and fast forward to the Forrest Of FangHorn sessions. When I started writing some new music for this album, and Chris unfortunately has left us a few years ago, and I was thinking, maybe I might try writing new music that fits that funk R&B feel to his lyrics. And I said, well, since I'm having all these special guest vocalists and musicians on the album anyways, I reached out to the Northbound family and see if they wanted to take part and record their respective parts, and everyone said yes. And so that's kind of how it got to where it is today, and the version that you hear today. And so speaking of Chris, it's I didn't know him as well as obviously you guys and gals did, but I knew his family. I knew both of his sisters, and Chris was just a fun, crazy, silly guy. Great sense of humor, and would come off with some of these really off the wall sayings and ideas and things like that. So, let's just talk about maybe a couple fun Chris stories.
Well, I don't know, but I see. There's so many weird stories that involve Chris. I mean, one, of course, is he bought a van for the purpose of schlepping around our musical equipment. And I mean, it was, I don't know, it was like a 75 Dodge, God knows what van. And it, what are this, the joints in the front that make the tires go straight. Well, he didn't have any. I can't remember. I know what they are. But so we'd get going on the highway. The tires would start wiggling like this, and then all of a sudden they go, and the car, and you're inside going like this, And he said, "Oh, it's got the DTs. It's got the DTs.
Oh my God!
It needs its drugs, and I mean, I thought a couple times we were just going to die because at 70 miles an hour, all of a sudden the front wheels just start doing that. I mean, I don't know how smart we were. I really don't.
The entire time I was at rehearsal with this band, with Chris, I never stopped laughing. The man just made me laugh constantly.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what I remember him too.
Oh.
He just always made you laugh.
Well, he was just so off the wall. It was like we had a
quick.
It was like we had a private session with Robin Williams.
Yes.
His brain just did not.
Yes.
His brain did not work like the rest of ours. While we're thinking one thing, he's over here thinking something crazy.
Yes.
And like throwing firecrackers out the window.
Yep.
Who does that?
Yep.
I mean,
Right.
it's just, and the things he would say were so off the wall sometimes. Just like I said, if all us lemmings were going to the left, he'd be going to the right. It was not following the crowd for sure.
Well, I thank you both for sharing those stories, and I really appreciate you being live in studio here. This is Friends of the Forest. This is episode number 9, Under the Lights, and which is the 9th track out of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, I can do it right this time. And on the Forrest Of FangHorn album entitled Ents Marching, which is available now everywhere you can stream and download stuff. So Under the Lights, go check it out. It has a groovy funk beat, some cool guitar, some cool horns, some awesome vocals. And the best thing is it's a way to pay tribute to our good friend Chris Martinac. So until then, my name is Dale Mangold. Thank you for watching Friends of the Forest. Peace and love, everybody.
Never seen another day. Sometimes I wonder why he stayed.